The new Joburg mayor is being investigated for fraud in connection with the Ithemba Lama Africa scheme. Now, here's the story behind this. Victims claim this entity conned them out of their money. Now, in the past few months, we know that Johannesburg and several other councils have gone through numerous mayors. The question is, how exactly is anything being led? How is anything being done? Well, let's bring in leadership expert Erwin Schwella joining us this morning. Erwin, good morning from Stellenbosch. I appreciate your time. I mean, this is messy. I mean, are we being led at all? Do you get any sense there's actual leadership in local government? Good morning.
Yes, I think there is bad leadership in local government mostly. And the problem is that the leaders within the local governance system seem to have, as it were, as their purpose, everything but good policies, good governance, and service delivery at a professional level. It seems to be about populist ideology. It seems to be about positions. It seems to be about power and privilege. So if that starts to happen and continues to happen, the whole system toxifies. And it means that it makes very little sense from any rational approach or any thoughtful, not even to talk about wise approach to leadership. We need people within governance and also specifically within local government that serve the people. There is a social contract between ourselves that we provide these people with money, with legitimacy and a legal mandate to do this. However, they don't do that. They seem to be continuously involved in all kinds of shenanigans in order to push their party privilege or their party position or their party interests and not to think about the citizens. This is not sustainable and it should come to an end.
How do we get to that end, Erwin? I may just leave this as a last question to you. How do we get to an end of this? Because it's a carousel of coalition leaders at the moment, and I'm worried because we're getting to national elections next year. We're talking local, but it's not a very good litmus test for a national picture. How do we stop this at a local level, do you think? What would you advise? What would you say?
Well, let's first start, if we say something constructive and positive. Democracies, and specifically constitutional democracies, are classical learning organizations. Therefore, there's a consistent and constant feedback from reactions into the system in order to then try to improve it. However, it seems as if our decision makers are still very much not listening to those messages they are getting. So at least one thinks that over time this can improve as our democracy matures. Then secondly, it is of course so that we still hold the power in the sense that when elections come, we should seriously consider punishing these people for acting in their interest rather than in our interest. And then thirdly, we need structural and legislative changes. The way in which we form coalitions are not really contributing to the whole process. Therefore, we probably need legislative and policy changes. That will take some time. In the meantime, I can say that I'm involved in a particular prototype project building a leadership program currently with some support from other parties, funders, to improve the quality of leadership in governance of coalitions. So all of the role players should act and start to act in the interest of South African citizens rather than act in terms of their personal interests and their party political interests.
Well, Erwin, I appreciate your time this morning. I'm fascinated by this prototype that you're working on at the moment. Maybe one day you and I can spend some time talking about that, because I want to get some details, especially for voter education, not just at local governance, of course, but local governance has a knock-on effect on municipal, then provincial, then, of course, national next year. So, Erwin, I'm sure my producers and I will be in touch shortly. Erwin Schwella joining us, making very good points when they're busy fighting amongst themselves what really is being done as far as leadership and governance is concerned. But my thanks to leadership expert Erwin Schwella joining us this morning.